Alright, so what we're going to attempt to do is try to put this $17 Amazon catch can using this 3/8 hose, which this particular hose isn't really used for PCV, but it is fuel line. I don't know if it's oil rated, but I guess we'll find out. And the idea is to add the catch can because these Magnum motors directly suck oil out of the valve cover, basically from the PCV directly into the intake manifold, which on a new truck isn't really a big deal since the motor's not broken in too bad where there's blow-by from the motor. Well, this engine has like probably 200,000 miles on it, and we rebuilt it with a pocket knife. You can watch those videos on my channel too. So what we're going to try to do is go from this check valve on the PCV over to the catch can, which based on the size, it looks like it'll fit right here on this spare bolt there, and then reroute it. So this will go from on the side in to the valve, or from the valve cover into the catch can. On the outside of the catch can, go into the side of the intake. Now the only problem that could happen from that is if there's a bad seal somewhere on here, then the truck will have a vacuum leak because this is after the throttle body. Now the idea is on your PCV system, and I'll put a graphic on this, one side of the motor is pushing air out, the other side is pulling air in. So on this side you can see that here's an Edelbrock breather on it, and the idea is it has a hose into the intake, post filter. So air comes in the filter, that's fresh air. The motor, if it needs it, will suck the air through here, post filter, into the crankcase. And because the motor's rotating clockwise, on the downstroke it'll be sucking air down through it and pushing it back up that way. Well, when that happens on a used motor, because they'll have blow-by, they'll blow oil into the PCV here, it'll get sucked in intake, and your truck's burning oil. So the idea here is to put a catch can in its path.
This catch can is pretty neat. We're just going to show you guys the inside of it real quick. It's better than the one he bought for his Neon,
Which was probably $34 instead of this. This is $17.
So you got this. First off, you can remove this, and they send you this, and you can put that in there for an easy hose if you want to do that. But I don't like this, so I'm not going to use it. I'm just going to leave that in there. Maybe even throw some Teflon on that bolt. But yeah, it got a filter. It's pretty neat. Yeah, his doesn't have it. And then it got a baffle.
Yep.
This doesn't have that either.
So on my catch can in my car, I do not have an oil vapor filter like this one is, and I don't have a baffle. So what I had to do on my catch can is I just throw like 2 steel wool wads in there just to make sure that if water and oil does come in here and you're driving around aggressively, it doesn't slosh up or bounce off the floor of it and get sucked right in the intake, and then you're got a real bad time because there's a bunch of it coming in. So this is a pretty nice design for being $17.
Yeah, they got like redirectors there. Here, mostly.
Yeah, so it also on top of that, if you look at it straight down, you see that they got kind of a ramps. So it's hard for something to go straight up into it, and once it ramps off that, it'll hit the wall, go down into this baffle. The baffle will slowly drain down into the pan of it. On the bottom of this, there's that recessed nut bolt thing. You can take that out, and you can put the petcock in the bottom of it for a drain if you wanted to. So for $17, that's actually pretty dang good. Alright, so here's the catch can, and what's going to need to happen is on the mounting tab, instead of drilling this into the side of the wall, what we're going to do is mount it on this post right here next to the right there. Yeah, right there. So next to the computer, there's a tab with a post right there. So the idea is probably going to take this ring off here. As you can see, you can pull these 2 little screws off, and it actually lets you rotate the mount independent of the whole catch can. Probably going to hammer that into a 180 degree angle instead of the 90 degree, and probably drill a hole down in it and then mount it on that post. And just in case this is relevant for anyone, the O-rings that come with these are super garbage. So if you do get a cheap eBay or Amazon catch can of some sort, make sure to check over everything. I had a catch can I bought for my Neon. That one had god awful hose. Like the hose was just trash. If it's a see-through hose and it's got like little cross lines, just throw it in the garbage. It's trash. Go down the store, buy some PCV valve or PCV hose, or this is the fuel line, which should work. And then make sure to check the O-rings. So on this case, these O-rings are like super squishy. Like they're just garbage O-rings. And these ones are Harbor Freight Viton O-rings, and they're much stiffer and nicer and should hold up to the elements. Like the one that was on here literally was just broken in the package. Like it snapped while on it. Not good. And I imagine crushing that thing 1 or 2 times would probably destroy it. So these Viton ones should hold up to the temperature, the oil, fuel, etc. Should hold up. So we're gonna go ahead and take the top off this with these 2 little Allen heads, and then bend the bracket, and I'll add that footage into it. Okay, so we figured out that bracket or that post right there was slightly too short. Even with double nutted up here, it would still bottom the can out here. So we created this god awful bracket for now.
Beautiful.
We'll temporarily use this garbage bracket we made out of some scrap metal from Harbor Freight Tools.
Once we're gonna replace this with
The factory style one right here, and it goes right down there. So we'd have a prime spot right there on the firewall, and I think that would probably end up better.
this guy actually goes right there.
Yeah. Previous owner adapted this early 90s, late 80s, or 1950s on style coil, which the original one is like that, much more compact, and this is so rigged it's not even funny. Even tell a pipe strap. So anyway, we're gonna put this on here and then put a nut and bolt through that, and so we have them catty corner like this so we can actually tighten down the nut on there. Otherwise, obviously the top would be in the way. So we're gonna go ahead and get that screwed down and show you the rest of it.
Just right behind it. Alright, so it's done now. It's mounted. Yeah, it's pretty fucking it's firm. The other thing I need to tighten down is these 2 bolts here. It can still rotate like that, but I left those off loose for when I put on the air intake. And so we ran the wire straight into the valve cover, into the out, and then from the in it goes over to the PVC valve. So I'll put this in real quick. And yeah, it's really not even touching them really at all. I mean, it's kind of pushing down on them, but it's still got some room to go down more. So it's actually being held up away from the wheel well. It's not pushing down on these hard, so it's not like pushing down on all the rest of this.
Should be pretty good.
All right, here's it fully installed. So here's the intake all installed. Here's the catch can. So we got it going from the PCV to the in to the out, comes into the intake. So all we gotta do now is check for vacuum leaks, make sure it's not gonna idle high from possibly that having a leak in it or any of the hoses. Other than that, I think it should be good since it's got Viton seals on it. There's hose clamps and everything. Not really necessary as far as I'm aware, but it's basically insurance. So looks clean.